Behind every victory in the UFC lies a story of struggle that goes beyond the octagon. Today, we'll explore the darker, more human side of the sport, where the true battles are fought outside the octagon, far from the spotlight. Stefan Borg is remembered for his iconic fight against Forrest Griffin in 2005, a bout many consider the catalyst for the UFC's mainstream success. That fight didn't just change the UFC's destiny, it left a mark on MMA history. It was an epic battle, filled with moments of pure heart and determination, showing the world what it meant to be a true warrior, someone willing to endure pain and give everything, no matter the circumstances. For many, that fight was a moment of connection with Borg, feeling each blow as if it were their own, and understanding that effort and perseverance are keys not only in sports but in life itself. However, Borg's life was riddled with challenges outside the octagon. After retiring, he faced health problems, financial struggles, and a constant battle to keep his life in order. Like many athletes, Borg encountered a harsh reality. Once the lights fade, everyday challenges can become overwhelming. He tried to engage in various projects to stay afloat and find a purpose beyond the octagon. But transitioning to a life outside the spotlight was a colossal challenge. He dealt with loneliness and uncertainty, something many can relate to when going through moments of change or losing direction in their lives. In December 2022, the MMA world was shaken by the news of his passing at 45. Behind his triumphs was an internal struggle few knew of, filled with insecurities, fears, and battles against issues anyone might face, like mental health and financial difficulties. His story reveals how difficult it can be for athletes to confront life when they're no longer in the spotlight. Borg was a fighter both in the octagon and in his personal life, teaching us the importance of adapting and seeking help in the most challenging times. Filipe Karis, known as Kimbo Slice, was a young Brazilian prospect in the UFC. With a professional record that included standout victories and a seemingly bright future, Karis represented the hope of a new generation of fighters. His style was dynamic, and his ability to adapt to his opponents made him a true contender. Karis wasn't just a talented fighter, he was also a man with dreams and aspirations beyond the octagon. Those who knew him speak of his humility, relentless dedication, and desire to inspire the youth in his community to chase their dreams, no matter how unreachable they seemed. He was a man who fought not just for his own goals, but to show that hard work and discipline could open doors even in the toughest of circumstances.
Filipe Karis, de 29 anos. O lutador foi atropelado por ônibus quando voltava de treino.
Tragedy struck in May 2023 when, returning from training in Rio de Janeiro, he was struck by a bus. Despite efforts to save him, he passed away at 29, leaving behind a promising career. The news of his death impacted everyone, from his training partners to his fans, who saw in him a fighter who always moved forward, no matter the obstacles. Karis's death exemplifies how fragile an athlete's dream can be, no matter how promising the future may seem. His loss affected not just Brazil, but the entire MMA community, which saw him as a rising star at the beginning of his journey. It's easy to identify with Filipe, because behind the athlete was a human being who, like many of us, faced uncertainty daily, striving to achieve his dreams and build a legacy for those who followed. Kevin Ferguson, known worldwide as Kimbo Slice, became a phenomenon thanks to his viral street fights on the internet. He was the fighter who came straight from the streets, and his charisma and ferocity propelled him to the UFC, where he continued his MMA career. Kimbo symbolized the hope of many who dream of achieving greatness despite having everything stacked against them. Coming from a tough situation with no resources or connections, Kimbo achieved the unimaginable, becoming a pop culture icon and a symbol of what can be accomplished through effort and courage. Although Kimbo proved to be much more than a street fighter, Behind his imposing figure and intimidating appearance, he faced severe health problems. In his later years, Kimbo dealt with heart complications that gradually weakened him. Despite his seemingly unbreakable strength, Kimbo lived day by day with concerns about his health, something many of us can relate to when facing personal struggles not always visible to others. In June 2016, at 42, he passed away due to heart complications, leaving his fans in shock. Behind the image of the invincible fighter was a human being who also felt fear and pain and, like anyone, had to cope with life's inevitable difficulties. Kimbo was a symbol of struggle and perseverance, but he also showed us that even the greatest heroes have vulnerabilities that aren't always visible. Gene Herrera, a talented Colombian fighter, had a promising career in the UFC, standing out for his skill, dedication, and passion for the sport. Herrera displayed an impressive ability to adapt to his opponents and a determination that left a lasting impression on both his trainers and fans. His future seemed full of opportunities, and many believed he had the potential to reach the sport's pinnacle. But destiny had other plans. Gene was much more than a fighter. He was a loving father and a committed partner. For him, every fight was not just a chance to shine, but a way to secure a better future for his son and family. His peers described him as a humble and hardworking man, always ready to support those around him, whether in the gym or beyond. On May 20th, 2024, at 33, Herrera suffered a tragic motorcycle accident in Tampa, Florida. Reports indicate he collided with the rear of another vehicle at high speed and was pronounced dead at the scene. This accident left a massive void in the lives of those who knew him. To his son, Gene was more than a fighter. He was a superhero, someone who never gave up and was always there to motivate him. His loss left an indelible mark on his family, especially his girlfriend, who was 3 months pregnant at the time of his passing, now facing the reality of raising her child without their father's presence. Gene's untimely death highlights life's fragility and the lasting impact athletes can have on their loved ones and the sports community. In Gene, many of us can see our own struggles, the need to protect and provide for our families, the desire to be a role model for our children, and the daily effort to achieve our dreams. Anthony Johnson, nicknamed Rumble for his astonishing knockout power, was a standout figure in the UFC. With a record of 23 wins and 6 losses, his career was filled with memorable moments and spectacular knockouts that made him one of the most feared fighters of his time. Rumble was known for his ability to end fights in an instant, and many of his opponents knew that one punch from him could change the course of a match. But behind his success in the octagon, Anthony Johnson was also a human being who, like many of us, faced personal challenges away from the cameras. While the world saw an indomitable warrior, Johnson fought a silent battle outside the octagon. In 2022, the MMA world was stunned to learn that Johnson was battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a type of cancer affecting the lymphatic system. This news was shocking to his fans and teammates, who had always seen him as a man of unshakable strength. The fight was long and arduous, marked by treatments and hospitalizations, requiring a mental fortitude that exceeded what was needed in the octagon. Despite his fighting spirit, this was a battle Johnson couldn't win. Throughout his life, Anthony displayed a determination that resonated with many. The will to never give up, even when adversity seemed insurmountable. Many of us have faced our own moments of struggle, battles that feel endless and require every ounce of strength to keep going. Seeing a man as strong as Johnson fight against something he couldn't physically strike back at reminds us of our vulnerability and how true strength lies in never stopping, even when the odds are against us. After a tough and silent battle, Anthony Johnson passed away on November 13, 2022 at 38. Johnson leaves a legacy of strength and determination, both inside and outside the octagon, reminding us that sometimes the hardest fights are the ones unseen. The battles fought far from the cameras and public eye. But not all stories end outside the octagon. Some of the most significant battles are fought inside it, where a single second can mark the difference between glory and a career-ending injury. Click here now to learn about the most terrifying injuries that have destroyed UFC careers. See you next time.